Okay, hi everyone. My name is Justin Press, and I'm the Global Services Manager here at Brightpearl. And I work with the teams who get customers live and continue to support your business and its use of Brightpearl. Now, today is our January release webinar. So we're aiming to keep this presentation to around 20 minutes. Now, as you know, Brightpearl is a cloud solution, and the product continues to evolve to meet your business needs, which brings us here today to demonstrate and discuss what we've been working on over the holiday season. Today, I'll be giving a quick refresher on how our release cycle works. I'll be telling you what we're working on now, what we have been working on, and I'll give you a quick list of our features that are in beta, and then we'll move to a Q&A session where you can ask me questions about the product. So please post any questions into the chat window and we'll pick them up at the end. Now, as this webinar is focusing on the product release, some of you may be interested to know on what more the strategic thinking is at Brightpearl right now. So we're excited to present in the next series our quarterly customer update webinar. Now this webinar will be presented by our CEO, Salman Malik, and other members of the executive team. They will be outlining some of the key product and service developments that we've delivered over the last 3 months and outlining the priorities for the next 3 to 6 months. This is must-have information for Brightpearl customers, and we really hope you can find the time to attend. And you can see the link on the screen of how you can register for that webinar. So I thought what we'd do first of all is quickly refresh on how our release cycle works. So we currently aim for 2 releases a month. Now users can see their current version by looking at the URL in their web browser when logged into Brightpearl. We also notify our customer community of releases via Twitter, and you can see the Brightpearl HQ Twitter ID on the screen. And all of our release notes are documented and published on our webpage via brightpearl.com/releases. We also send our release notes to our community forums that can also be found via the URL on the screen. And we continue to run this monthly customer webinar to talk through all new features and fixes. So there are 4 types of input into our product roadmap. The first one is our product team. Our product team look at the current market to see what our customers require so we can remain competitive in our industry and win new business. Second to that is our professional services team. Now, our professional services team work very closely with our customers and lots of businesses, and they tell the product team how Brightpearl should work. Next is our support team. Now, our support team act as the voice of our customers, and they tell the product team what they need to fix. And then finally, and most importantly, our customers. We take feedback from our customers so we can grow and evolve our product to meet the needs of your growing and evolving businesses. Now, as many of you are aware, we are still working our way for an initiative called Focus on the Core. This simply means we focus 100% of our attention on defects and areas of improvement for existing customers. Now, what we're working on right now, so as I said, our primary focus at this time is to drive down the number of defects in Brightpearl to make a really solid core product at the heart of your business. Now, you might wonder how we actually classify a defect. So there's 2 types of defects we actually focus on. Number 1, functionality not behaving as expected or designed. Now, you might hear this being called as a bug. And then second to that is functionality not fit for purpose. So maybe where we've not designed it in the correct way and we need to revisit how we've built the product. So this leads us on to focus on the core. Now, the strongest message that came out of our focus on the core interviews with you, our customers, was that Brightpearl is great, but too often defects get in the way. Therefore, we are also working on improvements to the key workflows that will allow you to spend more of your energy doing what you do best. We're going to ensure we support you in the future, offering more stock to more customers through more channels, and as a result, give the ability to process more orders. Now, please note our feedback forum is still open. Here's a quick screenshot of our feedback forum. Users can continue to create new ideas and vote on others you'd like us to see us build in the Brightpearl solution. And this is available via brightpearl.feedback.com. Now you can see an image of the feedback forum. It's a great forum. What it does, it searches for similar ideas as you type them into the screen, and you can register your own idea to ensure that you won't end up with duplicates. As you find an idea, the users have the ability to cast a vote, and you can you can cast up to 3 votes on any one idea, and each Brightpearl user gets 50 votes. So please check it out. Okay, so what have we been working on lately? For those of you who joined our last webinar, we announced that our November 4.57 release was our last release of 2013, as we concentrated on the busy Christmas period. This meant we spent an entire month just working on bugs, and all accounts have now been upgraded to 4.6 on January 21st. As you can see, we have progressed 3 version numbers, and this is the largest Brightpearl code release in 12 months. We're happy to say this has been a very successful release for us. Over 40 system defects have been fixed, and it went out without any issues at all. Now, this is down to some of the changes we've been making in our engineering teams. For example, we now release to a staging environment, which is a replica of the live environment, and doing this allowed us to catch a couple of glitches that our testing didn't pick up, and we therefore fixed before going to a live release. Finally, we have now introduced more automated testing. Now, this means as well as people testing our software, we have software testing our software. It's all really cool stuff, all adding to the quality of our product. Okay, let's get into this release. Now, as you know, there's no new features, but we have fixed some major defects. So I'm not going to go through all 40 defects. But what I would like to do is show you some of the exciting fixes, the glitches that were actually causing a lot of friction for some of our customers. So the first one is an improvement to our marketplace integrations. And this includes an improvement to an eBay bug. Now, as you know, when customers click commit to buy on an eBay listing, at this point, the order downloads to Brightpearl. And of course, we need to capture this order as soon as possible, as we need to make sure the stock is allocated and not sold elsewhere, as it could be the last product in stock. Anyway, the issue arose when a customer clicks commit to buy, and then they would make changes to the order. So the order had already downloaded into Brightpearl, and then the customer decided that they were going to change the shipping address or perhaps the shipping method. So we downloaded the order with a second-class shipping method, and before checking out and processing their payment, they've decided to change the delivery method to a first-class option. Now, I would like to demo this to you today, but unfortunately, the eBay sandbox is having problems, so you just have to take my word for it. But what it does, so if an order is already marked as shipped, the delivery address is still updated, the shipping method is still updated, and the shipping cost is still updated. But if that order is already shipped, a warning is added to the e-commerce messages to say this has happened. Now, if an order is already invoiced, the delivery address is still updated, the shipping method is not updated, and the shipping cost is not updated. And an e-commerce alert error is created so people can see what has happened. Now, these are very rare scenarios that this would happen. It could possibly happen in a very small space of time that a customer has clicked commit to buy and somebody has logged into Brightpearl to start to process the order. Of course, it's very unlikely to happen because we wouldn't usually process an order until a payment has downloaded against the order. Okay, the next improvement is an e-commerce integration improvement, and that includes the Magento integration. Now, when a customer places an order through Magento, the order will download into Brightpearl, and the first thing Brightpearl does is check for an existing contact record, searching through the existing customers using the email address. If there's no email address in Brightpearl, Brightpearl will create a new contact record. These contacts are then linked together by recording the Magento resource ID in Brightpearl. Now, problems were being encountered where the customer already linked to a contact in Brightpearl would then go and change their email address through the Magento website. The order would download, checking for an email and find no result, and therefore go ahead and create a new record. Now, this resulted in 2 contact records actually existing, and the order would fail to create. and we'd get an error in the integration log to say unable to create a customer within Brightpearl for the Magento sales order. So we've now fixed that. What actually happens is the order will successfully download against the original contact using the linked resource ID, and the new customer email address can be seen in the delivery address section of the order. Note that the contact record is not automatically updated with the customer's new details. To ensure this is highlighted to the user, a message will be displayed within the order and in the e-commerce alerts. Since this is just a warning, it will not pop up as an alert on the channel menu, but they can be seen by navigating to the integration log and filtering. I can show you some screenshots of this. So you can see in the shot on the screen, this is the error that gets written to the integration log, and this is what gets captured on the order. Okay, the next new bug that we fixed relates to only to our UK customers and those that use Brightpearl for reporting their VAT liability. Now, previously to this release, Brightpearl would not show any manual journals that was entered in Brightpearl on the VAT report. It would only actually show any sales invoices and purchase invoices entered via sales orders, purchase orders, or direct bills, and quick invoices, and credit notes, of course. Now, you may actually want to see any VAT that appears on a manual journal. To give you an example of this, customers would post a journal for hire purchase. You wouldn't enter a monthly invoice for that. So those journals which has VAT against them were not showing on the original VAT report. So we fixed this and journals do now appear. But it's important to note that this is not a retrospective fix. That means only journals posted after January 1st of 2014 will now appear on the VAT return. Okay, that's the three major issues I want to talk through, but you can check out all of our release notes via brightpearl.com/releases. Also, in the other webinars, I also covered some of our beta features. I just want to remind you of some of those. So the first one, we have an uninvoicing feature. So this is a feature where the customer can uninvoice a sales order, perhaps to change a price or a quantity when an error has been made, rather than creating a credit and matching it to the sales order. So a lot of efficiencies have been made there. The next one is improvements to the returns process. Customers can now return individual lines from a sales order, and they can write off stock from the sales order screen. And then finally, we now have check printing for our US customers, where you can use Brightpearl to actually print checks to pay suppliers. All of these features are in beta, and that means they're not in the general release. So if you'd like these features turned on, simply send an email to design@brightpearl.com and they'll make the change on your account. Okay, I'm going to pause now just to give you a chance to ask us some questions. Hi guys, we're not getting many questions come through, so please use this as your chance to post questions. We've had one come through though, which is, can we demonstrate the new improved returns process? So sure, I'm going to just log into my account here. And I'm just going to go find a sales order where I've already shipped an invoice. So shipped the stock and it's been invoiced. Let's quickly find one. Let's take this one here. So this one hasn't actually been invoiced, but we've shipped the stock. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly press the invoice button so it's a completed sales order. Okay, so my customer has rung me up and they're not too happy about the product I've sent them, and they want to maybe exchange it or get a different size. So the first improvement is that instead of cloning the entire sales order and then deleting the lines, I can pick which individual lines on the sales order I want to return. So I'm going to pick the top line here, which is the product, and I'm going to click clone to sales order. sorry, I should actually be clicking clone to credit. Let me just go back there. So clone to sales credit. Okay, so you can see this has created a new sales credit for this customer. It's brought over the original product, and it's even given me a link back to the original sales order, so I've got an audit trail of why this credit is in the system. So that's the first part of the improvement. The next part is that I would now usually receive inventory. Just let the screen load. Now, usually that press and receive inventory would just bring that stock back into Brightpearl and put it into the quarantine zone of the warehouse. So that meant it wouldn't go into the available stock to sell. It would be in a quarantine zone where our users could check the stock was fit for resale and put it back into the general stock. We've made an improvement here where we can put it straight back into the available stock for sale, or we could actually write off the items. If the product was actually damaged, we can write it off from this screen. Or if we want to do, we could go back to the traditional method and quarantine the items for inspection at a later date. And that's the new returns process. There's more actual improvements coming in this area. Okay, so we got a question here about, are there any more marketplaces that we plan to integrate to in the future? Now, as I said, we are actually generally focusing on the core at the moment. So our immediate attention is on improving the app and getting any defects out of the software. There may be more marketplace integrations coming in the future, but there's nothing on Brightpearl's mind right now. But I do know some of our partners and third-party developers are looking at writing various integrations into play.com, and as soon as we get any news on that, we'll let you know. Okay, so we got another question here. Somebody's pointed out that there's actually a glitch on the show channel availability feature. So this is a new feature, and it's actually in beta. So that means it's not out on general release, but it is turned on many accounts. When is that going to be fixed? So this is a bigger project than we initially hoped, and unfortunately, it is going to take a few months to address. But we're glad to say that we did catch that problem early on while it was still in beta, and it's now with our engineering teams to revisit. Okay, we've got a question here. So if change of address and shipping method is picked up when PayPal payment is made, does Brightpearl also pick up the messages from customer when paying on PayPal? So the answer to that is no. We don't take anything from the actual PayPal software. It's only from eBay. Okay, so we got another good question here. It says, you mentioned improving core workflow processes such as the returns. Are there any other core workflow processes you are planning on improving? Yes, we are working on all the most used workflows in Brightpearl. We are reviewing a number of clicks, page load times, etc., to make everything improved. And the product team are really keen to hear your feedback on what parts of the system take you longest to use. And you can get in touch with them via design@brightpearl.com. So somebody's asked about the returns process from a purchase credit point of view. Currently, you have to add stock not tracked to the purchase credit and manually remove the inventory. Now, there's an actual reason for, so first of all, we're not making any changes to that in the immediate future, but there is a reason why you have to manually adjust that stock, and that is simply because of FIFO. So if you're returning stock, Brightpearl, would it be right for Brightpearl to assume you want to return the oldest stock or the newest stock? So this is why you actually have to go into the inventory detail report and find the actual product, and it would be linked to a purchase order even, and make the manual adjustment yourself. Just to make a point on that, though, we are interested in your feedback on that. So please get in touch with us and how you think we could improve that area. Okay, somebody's asked, can you explain what beta is? So beta is a way of how we actually release software. So when we create software, it actually goes for what we call unit testing, and that is the actual engineer who's writing the code tests that his code works. It then goes through our QA testing. So these are testing teams testing software, and their job is just simply to test that code change and make sure it works. Before we then actually release that change, it goes into a phase of what we call beta. And that simply means it doesn't go into the general release of Brightpearl. It has to be turned on and that that feature needs to be requested by our actual customers. So that allows us to have beta users testing new parts of Brightpearl, making sure it works before we release it to the general public. Obviously, when you're using a beta feature, there is a small risk that it might not work, but for some people, the benefit outweighs that risk. So somebody's asked, currently the sales report only shows the default cost price list. If another cost price list is used for an item, the report does not show accurate gross profit. We have actually made some changes in this area of the system, um, and I will personally respond to that actual question when I can get more information. But we're actually using allocated costs, and this is captured at the sales order level at this time. So first of all, there's a feature in Brightpearl where you can turn on a cost tab on the sales order, and you can see the profitability of each individual sales order. Now, the way that used to work is it would take the standard cost price from each product and add it to the sales order. And we've made a change so it now uses the allocated cost price, because you could have bought items at different cost prices, and it will use the actual cost price of the product you've allocated to the sales order. I need to check whether that change reflects across the sales profitability report, so I'll come back to you. Okay, we're going to wrap it up there. There are some more questions that people have asked, and we will get back to each and every one of those. So if you want to ask questions, please post it in the chat window, and we'll get back to every single question that's being asked. Thanks very much.